Welcome to Dirt Secrets, where we dig deep into the stories, strategy, and surprises of building and buying in Central Florida's hottest neighborhoods.
We're Kim and Amanda from Builders Concierge Group, your insiders in the builder world.
From helping builders create custom urban infill projects, even when that means knocking down an old home, to guiding buyers and relocation clients through every step.
We know the dirt, the deals, and the details that turn big dreams into beautiful addresses.
So grab your hard hat
And your coffee.
Let's dig in. Welcome back to another episode of Dirt Secrets. I'm Kim Griffin.
And I'm Amanda Wood.
And we're going to expand a little bit on what our last episode and talk a little bit about actually growing your niche in the luxury real estate market. Everybody, once again, you go on the masterminds, everybody's like, how do I break into the $1 million plus market? How do I get to 500 to $1 million GCI a year? How do I do this? It's not easy. It's you don't just walk up on the door and knock and say, hey, I'm ready to sell you a luxury home. You don't go into a builder who's you've never sold anything for and say, hey, I'm ready to take on your $1 million
listings.
But it's certainly, as Orlando's price point and luxury inventory continues to expand, it's something, you really need to think about, because it is just as hard to sell a $500,000 house as it is a $5 million house.
Mm-hmm.
Takes the same amount of paperwork, takes the same amount of hand holding, takes the same amount of time, pretty much. So why not have your average price point continue to go up?
Mm-hmm.
It will increase your revenue. It'll decrease your number of transactions needed to get to your goal every year. And it's an exciting niche to be in, because you're seeing the newest, latest, most innovative products. You're seeing
most recent code.
Yeah, you know that everything's built to code. I mean, we know the value of new construction to your buyer, but I think that what you've got to do is if you want that seller, if you want to control that kind of part of the listing market, you've got to understand luxury isn't just a word. It's not pretty things on Instagram. We've all heard a lot about luxury this year, quiet luxury, and you don't walk in and say, I know how to sell luxury homes. You've got to have a really good idea of what that buyer's looking for. And once again, it's very specific from zip code to zip code.
Very specific.
In some, if you don't have a 40-inch, slide in range with a big label on it, you're not going to sell that house. In some places, it's just like, oh, look, there's a fenced in yard. It varies drastically from zip code to zip code. So once again, that's why specializing in your neighborhood and becoming an expert is really, really critical.
To your sellers, to your builders, to your buyers.
To everybody.
It's just critical.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to know that it's about knowing your profession, being that professional, educating yourself on a regular basis, extremely important. What we do every day.
And what gets you into that segment is you've got to know the people that work in it. You don't just want to know the builders. You want to know the architects. You want to know the designers. Some of our builders have come to us through our vendors. Mm-hmm. They're like, hey, I do tile for this builder and he really is struggling. I think he could really use your all services. Sometimes it'll come through an architect. We'll have an architect going, hey, I've been working with these two ladies and they've sold several of my plans. Maybe you should call them. Mm-hmm. So it's always amazing. It doesn't just come, the least likely place it is to come from another builder. Most builders don't want to give away their secrets. So they're not going to say, oh, man, these people have been slaying it for me. You need to call them. They don't want to do that. So you've got to get in with architects, developers, build, get to know the design people, visit the high-end design studios, just to see what's out there and see what's going on. And those designers, they know everybody. Mm-hmm. So those are great people to get in contact with. And you got to understand the product. You're like, what truly makes a luxury home? Is it convenience? Is it having the fanciest appliances? Is it being a smart home? It's different to every buyer and it's different to every zip code. So you just have to know that if they're looking for these things, you're going to like, okay, well, then we need to talk about this budget. And helping them understand the value proposition. It's like, especially they're like, I want to add this to the house. You're going, well, that's lovely. And you're going to enjoy the heck out of it. But I just want you to know it's worth about 20 cents on the dollar. And, knowing what those things translate to in the resale market, it's important.
And how long you plan to be in the home.
How long you plan on being in the home.
If it's a short term, you get relocated a lot. You need to pay attention to those things.
You
if
do
this is your forever home, who cares?
Yeah.
Enjoy
You
it.
may want to buy some more things.
There's going to be purpose there.
When it's your kid's problem, buy it. Go ahead. Spend their inheritance, I say. But what luxury buyers don't care about is, they don't care about like being, and don't get me wrong, we all have to do marketing. We have several different channels of marketing, but they don't want to be blasted.
Right.
When they don't need generic mass marketing saying, oh, we have all these luxury homes. They want to know about that specific neighborhood. They want to know what you have there. They want to know what it has in it. So you need to be super knowledgeable about that. And you've also got to be, you need to be discreet. Some of these folks, they don't want everybody knowing their business. So, when you come in and especially as a listing agent, we're like, what are they looking to spend? You're going to go like, well, this house is in the budget. You don't want to throw that number out there right away because they're like, oh, well, I'm going to go show them this more expensive one. You say this is where they're comfortable, or this is what this home fits the price range.
It fits all their needs.
It fits all their needs.
It checks the boxes. And you're never going to check every box, but as long as it checks the most important ones,
it does.
That's what's important.
And talk a little bit about square footage, Amanda. Everybody gets hung up on square footage.
Yeah. So appraisers don't even do price per square foot. So when I have somebody come in, like, it has to be this price per square foot. I'm like, okay, we can build that. And this is what that looks like. But I want Subsea and Wolf. I want this. I want that. But that doesn't fit your budget or your price per square foot budget. So you really got to kind of pay attention to what is included in your price per square foot. That's the luxury side of this is really understanding that it fits those needs. But we can't get caught up in that. It's going to be lot specific. I mean, you could be in Winter Park where you paid, double
for the lot.
I mean, the rule of thumb, and I think this has actually changed a little bit. The rule of thumb was 30% more for the lot in Winter Park for 30% less home that you can build because of they have the percentages, which they do an amazing job. The houses never look cookie cutter. It always looks gorgeous. But you do have a lot of interest that's required in those homes that can reduce your footprint. So that's kind of a rule of thumb there. But when we talk about price per square foot, it's a factor. It is not your driving force. That's the most important thing. And it entails what's in the home. The lower the price per square foot, the lower the square footage, the higher the price per square foot. The higher the square footage, the lower the price per square foot. So it is a relationship that you have to pay attention to, because what drives our price per square foot? It's not just the things you put in it. You could put a $10,000 appliance package, or you could put a $110,000 appliance package. So there's a big difference there. But it's the type of insulation you do in the home. There's so many things that go into your price per square foot. You have to understand the value. And that's where, being a luxury agent, you need to know those features and benefits. You need to know the difference between open cell, foam insulation, and blown and bat, and the R values and the increased R values and the block. And you need to understand all these things. These are not the pretty things, but they're very important things. So you need to know behind the walls. I always tell people, let me give you 3 things about the house you're not going to see just by looking at it, and then take a look. Because a lot of times they don't want you to, they want to be able to see the home without listening, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But there are things you need to know about that home that's part of the price, because I can't believe this house is, this much money. But this is why it's this much money. It's not, we didn't build this house this way and then charge this much more because of location. It's really not like that. So you've got to understand what's driving your price per square foot.
You do. And when you're going in, when you do, say you get a builder investor that wants to build a spec home, and you found them the lot and you found the builder, you put everybody together, be realistic with them. They appreciate credibility. They appreciate honesty. Don't blow smoke and say, oh, we're going to change the street. We're going to get, we're going to blow the top off the market. We're going to push. That takes time. And that takes, you got to make sure that
takes execution.
It does. And you got to make sure that we don't know what the market's going to look like in 12 to 16 months. It's like, how fast you're going to build this house.
And we don't know what's going to change in the middle of construction. Like, oh, this is no longer feasible that we had planned. Changes your price point too. You pull things out.
Absolutely. So it's really important to be realistic with the builder and saying, okay, if you want this price, and don't let them set the price. You're the expert. Here's what this is going to sell for.
Don't buy
here's the top end of the market. Here's the low end. Here's the median. And then know the features that the other home sold with. You're going to go, this one sold for this much more, but look at the appliance package, look at the cabinetry, look at the flooring,
look at the lot, look at
the
the
lot. So
location.
Builders
Lake or
will
no
tend,
lake.
just like builders are just like any other seller. They will open up Zillow or Realtor and they'll be like, this house down the street sold for this, so that's what I want. It's like, okay, well, let's figure out how to get you there, but it's not automatic. So I think that you've got to be a problem solver. You can't just be
a consultant.
And a consultant. You can't just be, yay, this sounds wonderful. Let's sell it for, $100 more square foot than anybody else and change the market. It's not feasible. And they want to hear feasibility because they're putting their money, their investors' money, and their time on the line. And you need to respect that that's a lot. They're taking all the risk. So it's up to us to give them excellent, relevant information that will help them make that risk tolerance lower.
We work with multiple builders, and one of the first comments we get when we bring in a new builder and we start working with them is, I don't want to work with you because you work with these builders. And it's like, well, do you build the same type of product? Again, we're going to go back to some of our previous episode. You cannot be everything to everybody. Neither is your builder. So you've got builders who will build multifamily. You got builders, and that just because they do doesn't mean they're building single family. We've built with a commercial builder before that stepped into the residential market, and it was difficult. They had a lot of growing pains because it's different. Your subs are different. Everything about it, your zoning, your building codes, everything is different. So that translates, and that translates usually costing time, and time is money. So we keep talking about these things. I remember Bill said this, and a lot of builders say this. They just don't like realtors. And it's not that they don't like you or your profession, but they don't like the fact that you don't understand the building and you're coming in and trying to compare resale to new construction without understanding what you're doing. But the house is 10 years old. We need to use that, but we also need to know the value of new construction and what ties that up and gives you that 10, 12, 15, 18% difference in price over resale versus new. You got to build that value to our buyers because it does bring a tremendous amount of value. You're up to date with code. You're reducing insurance liability, which reduces your insurance cost, your homeowner's insurance cost, et cetera, et cetera. We can go on and on. But it is very important to understand. That's what we're talking about. Don't waste your time. Understand your luxury market. When you're talking to builders, call us about land. Because if we don't have a builder for it and we can't sell it, we will give you that information and probably say, this is a good builder that builds this. Not every builder builds the same thing. Again, we can work with multiple builders because nobody does the same thing. They're all different.
They're all unique.
Just like us as realtors. We all have our different specialties and different niches. So I think that that's a really important talking point when we talk about luxury. It goes back to education, knowing your market and not being everything to everybody.
Yeah. And luxury home builders, they're looking for, like anything else, they want to hire the most competent, capable person they can. They're not looking for somebody who has the prettiest Instagram. They're looking for somebody who is, very, very visible. They're looking for competency. They're looking for someone who will give them the honest truth up front and say, I don't think this lot's going to work. It is disappointing when you go out and you find something you think it's really great. You look at it and you're like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to take this to the builder. Then you dig in deeper and you're like, that's not really going to work. But they appreciate that. They appreciate that if you say that up front and early, that they're not making a bad financial decision that has ramifications for their business for the next 18 months. Yeah. So they want people they want agents who know how to protect their price and their margins. Once again, the public thinks that there's this huge, huge margin on new homes. They think that builders are making 40, 50%. It's like, oh, wow. I wish I could show you the balance sheet. Yeah. They all wish. Everybody would be doing it. It's a tough business. And not every home is a profit maker. And, you have to also respect that for the builders.
It's high risk.
I know it's high risk, and say, we know you took a lot of risk. And we want to share some of that risk with them, and say, like, we understand this product was not the right product at the right time for the market. So you have to you have to be flexible within the process and say, and don't be afraid. Say, come to them and say, obviously the market is telling us that the price we all thought was good was not. So we need to talk about a better price. It's like, don't change agents, change your marketing strategy. Right. Yeah.
Or listen to your feedback. You need to be on site. You need to be at your showings. You need to be listening to the feedback because you've got to share that.
Right.
pivoting is the most important thing you can do as fast as possible. And it's, time is money. We go back to that constantly. There's a lot of carry cost. I mean, they're managing, they might have a loan on it versus cash. So they've got interest rates, they've got electricity, they've got pool,
cleaning,
landscaping, cleaning,
everything.
You've got to maintain the home. And, if nobody's
Costs
living
the same
there.
to maintain it, whether people are living there
That's
or not.
right. And they need to be lived in. Homes are meant to be lived in.
They are.
So it's about pivoting. It's not an agent. When they see that third, fourth, fifth agent, I'm like, oh, Joyce, listen to your feedback, fix your problem, and you've got your buyer. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it does require us being ultra honest and upfront and getting ahead of it. Don't waste time on market. Just like, build it, they will come. We can't do that. We
can't do that. The market's not like that anymore. And I think the biggest takeaway for this is that if you want to get into this luxury segment of the market, you're an advisor, you're a counselor, you're a consultant, you're not a salesperson. You're trying to help everybody achieve the best product at offering at the best price possible
for everyone,
for the builder in the market. And
it's got to be a win-win.
Yeah, it's
got to be a win-win.
Yeah, and then they'll keep coming back. They'll keep coming back to you as long as you're giving them very straightforward, very clear advice. You can't dance around and say, well, maybe if we did this. They don't like maybes. Builders are businessmen. They don't like maybes.
They've got a lot of money on the line. This is very important. And we have to protect and respect their risk and their money. Absolutely. And that's the key, is making sure you have that proper information. You know your market and you can get this turned around and sold. And if not, you tell them why and what that feedback is. Make those changes. And builders, spend the money when they tell you, fix this. If that's a constant level of feedback that they keep getting from your buyers are speaking.
If you hear that more than 3 times, it's a problem.
Do it. Fix it immediately. Find the solution. Problem solve.
Problem solve.
Don't cheerlead it off. Just problem solve it. Like, oh, you're great. You can do this. No. Your market's talking. Give them what they're asking for. We got to listen. We've got to listen. It's not my opinion. It's your market's opinion. So make sure you're giving that information and consulting in the right way for your builders, your buyers, your sellers, all the above. And you can join this luxury market. And it's easier to borrow $1 million from one person than 100,000 from 10. Let's reduce those transactions.
Absolutely.
And be there for your buyers, be there for your sellers.
Hey, and don't hesitate. If you ever want to know more about the market, reach out to Amanda and I. We'd love to have coffee. We'd love to talk to you a little bit more about it.
Clearly, we love to talk.
We love to talk. And we don't mind sharing our experiences, our successes, our failures, anything we can help do to make somebody's path a little easier. 70%
plus did not sell a thing last year. You should be. But you've got to be an expert. You can't be about yourself. Got to be about them.
Yeah, and if you don't understand
this market,
if you want to get into new construction, you've got to learn more about new construction. If you don't understand the construction, you don't understand the deal.
That's right. Okay, well, this is another episode of Dirt Secrets. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Kim.
Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in. That's another episode of Dirt Secrets, where we uncover the real stories and strategies behind building and buying in Central Florida.
If you're a builder ready to make your mark with a custom urban infill project, a buyer looking for the perfect home, or someone relocating here for a fresh start, we're here to guide you from blueprint to closing.
Make sure to follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you never miss a single secret and to stay ahead of the market.
You can find us at buildersconciergegroup.com or on Instagram and Facebook at Builders Concierge Group, where we share listings, behind-the-scene tours, and sneak peeks of what's coming next.
We'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, your dream home wish list, or your own dirt secret, and we might feature it in a future episode.
Remember, whether you're breaking ground, buying your first home, or finding your Florida forever home,
the right property isn't just built, it's crafted with the right team, the right strategy, and the right connections.
You've been listening to Dirt Secrets, and we'll see you on the next episode.